What's up? I'm IAMOBG for TastingSkills.com. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm talking about Rittenhouse Straight Rye Whiskey. Now this is bottled in bond, meaning it has to be a minimum of 4 years in new chart oak, and it has to be bottled at 100 proof or 50 ABV. Now Rittenhouse was established actually in 1934 as a brand, and it came out of the Bernheim distillery that was established in 1896 after the Bernheim brothers bought the Pleasure Ridge distillery that was established in 1870. Now there's a long history of Rittenhouse of, a beer and a shot. That's basically how it got really famous. But they did make other SKUs that we're gonna cover right after we talk how this ended up with Heaven Hill. Well, Heaven Hill actually bought the distillery after it passed around from United Distillers that became Diageo. And in 1999, they acquired that distillery and they made it their own home, refurnished it, rebuilt it, and now they are the second largest bourbon holder in the world that's in cask. So this isn't a small distillery. Now let's take a look at the technicals of the Rittenhouse Straight Rye Whiskey and also their magical trio of 21, 23, and 25. So let's start with the entry level Rittenhouse Rye Bottled-in-Bond. Now this mash is 35% corn, 51% rye, and 14% malted barley. And this enters a new charred barrel at a level 3 at 125 proof. And it's aged for a minimum of 4 years since this is declared as a bottled in bond, and this retails for $20. Then we have the Rittenhouse Very Rare Single Barrel 21-year-old Straight Rye. Now this has a proof of 100 or an ABV of 50, and this was a run of only 32 barrel, and this came out in November of 2007 for $150. Now it's worth $3,000 to $4,000. Then we have the Rittenhouse Very Rare Single Barrel 23-year-old Straight Rye. This came also in November of 2007, and this was barreled in October of 84. Now again, 100 proof, 50 ABV, and this was $170 at release, and now you can find it between $3,000 to $4,000. And then we have the Rittenhouse Very Rare Single Barrel 25-year-old Straight Rye. This is also part of the same release of 2007, the same proof or ABV, and this one retails between $3,000 to $5,000. Now, when we're talking about Rittenhouse 21, 23, and 25, you can see how crazy this market has become. Like a $150 bottle of whiskey now is worth $3,000 to $4,000. So this just proves how big the market of whiskey has become. Yes, is this stupid? Of course it's stupid. I totally understand how you feel. And I get in these arguments all the time about people telling me like, that's not what it's worth. Yes, I understand that part, but you need to understand a lot of these early release, they were collected and there wasn't a lot on the market. Now, let's take a look at the packaging here. This is just basic classic. I mean, it's $20. This is just the classic Rittenhouse, the bottle in bond. Yes, you have, in bonded warehouse by the US government. Basically, that just means that they didn't pay the taxes, and when they bottled it, then they paid the taxes on it. It has the basic screw cap. I do love the bottle in bond, which was the classic, tape over back in the days. This is just classic. You can't really define it. I mean, it's been around forever, so I don't think they're going to update this or make this any crazier. I mean, it's a $20 bottle of rye that's 4 years old, bottled in bond for 100 proof. Like for 20 bucks, you can't get much more than that. All right, so let's take a look at the tasting notes. But before that, do you want to taste like a pro? Head over to tastingskills.com, put your name and email into the magical yellow box, and I will send you my free 17-page guide to the fundamentals of tasting. But not only that, if you would like to get a sexy, sober t-shirt, or a nice sober hat, and yes, it comes in black, and I have hoodies and so on. Once it's in your cart at tastingskills.com, just use the promo code IAMOBG and shipping will be free since it's on me. All right, let's jump into this Rittenhouse Straight Rye Whiskey bottled in bond. On the color, dark amber with some rich brown nose. On the nose, this is all rye. Caramel, honey, charred oak, tobacco, spice box, pine closet, but the alcohol is very present, but this is very sweet. On the mouthfeel, high rye. This has all of the classic notes of a rye, and it's spicy. The wood tannins drive everything on here as they turn into sweet caramel notes that deliver high alcohol notes. Now, this is a little high in alcohol, but I mean, if you compare this to a Sazerac rye, this is a third less expensive than a Sazerac rye. This isn't as sweet as a Sazerac rye. But when we're talking about Rittenhouse here, this is the classic shot and beer. Otherwise, you can make some amazing classic cocktails with more kick to it, since the Sazerac has a 90 proof and this has a 100. So if you're trying to make a nice Manhattan of Vieux Carré or even a classic Sazerac, this is really a go-to. Now, is this a sipper? Yes, it's drinkable, this is good, but this is just a staple when you're making classic cocktails. I mean, you really can't get away from this. This is just really good. I've put a link to the Sazerac de Vieux Carré and of course, the Manhattan cocktail below, so if you want to try it, you're welcome to. Otherwise, this is just a steal. I mean, for $20, 4-year-old in bond, 100 proof, you can't really beat this. This is just really, really good for the money. And I do absolutely recommend that you try this. It's not as sweet as the Sazerac, but the price is a lot better. All right, that's gonna do it for me. IAMOBG for tastingskills.com. Please remember to smash that like button. And also, I've put a link below to all of the history of Rittenhouse and that distillery and Heaven Hill's portfolio, since there's so much cool history, and Heaven Hill is a serious player. They make a lot of really cool brands. Otherwise, please remember, my friend, stay sober. Peace.